Son of Crawdaddy, playing soul, jazz, rhythm and blues every Thursday night between 10 and 12 on Triple R.
Oh, thank you, Neil. And of course, Big A for holding the fort. So very, very sorry to everyone out there in Triple R Radio Land. Half an hour late. That's very, very poor. All I can say is when they replace your train with a bus and then have to replace that bus with another bus, you're in a bit of strife. But opening up the show with Chris Wilson, getting into it as quick as possible, and in moments be talking to my special guests, Paul and Steve from Steve Boyd's Rum Reverie. So hang in there and welcome.
Purple Hexy, let's see.
the show as usual. Chris Wilson, Born Under a Bad Sign, and just then from the EP that's been released from Steve Boyd's Rum Reverie, and the track that I play often on the show, Papa Likes It. Going to pay some bills. In fact, I think it's a subscriber information kind of deal, and we'll be right back with the aforementioned Steve Boyd. Yes, there's some info about Triple R, their subscriber kind of deal. And as I said, we just heard Steve Boyd's Rum Reverie, and we do have in the studio Paulie, the drummer. Hello.
Hey, Max.
I think you're on, yes. Can you hear me? I hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, excellent. We love that. And Steve Boyd.
Hello, Max.
No, that one. All right, I've buggered it up. Try again.
Hello?
Yes.
Am I here?
You're on.
Wonderful.
You're there.
A lot of people think I'm not quite there. I hear that, but apparently I am.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I do apologise again for being a bit late.
No worries, Max. Not a problem.
Max, honestly.
I'm sorry about that, because I know you guys, you don't want it squeaking too close to the pumpkin hour because, things get a bit leery with you blokes occasionally.
I'm not working tomorrow, so I'm all right, Max.
And we caught up with our dear old friend John McCausland across the road, so we were doing just fine. Yeah.
That's good. It's good to catch up.
And you're in here primarily. Well, last week I got to play the single off the forthcoming album. I keep talking about this mythical album for the last year or so. I played Spencer P. Jones, which we'll talk about in a moment. But how is the progress of the aforementioned opus going?
Yeah, it's good.
It's going good, isn't it, mate? Look, the whole thing is we want this album to be as good as it can be. We don't want to get into Guns N' Roses sort of, what was that called?
Use Your Illusion.
Yeah, yes, we don't want to turn in that sort of scenario. But, it's money, isn't it? You have to beg, borrow, steal, the same old deal, and we're doing all that stuff, but it's feeling fantastic. And it's feeling so fantastic that we don't want to spoil it and rush it at the last minute.
No, that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Plus, in the meantime, it means you guys can kind of hone the songs down a bit more. So when the launch of the album eventually, makes its presence known, then... I was going to say, I think you're kind of doing well on the live scene because you've done a few festivals this year. I think you did the Docklands one
last week,
and I heard extremely good reports for you guys.
Yeah,
was that a good gig for you?
It was. Yeah, it was good.
So much fun, and we really haven't had a lot to do with the whole M-Bass scene, but that was a bit of a toe in the water for us, and it felt fantastic. It was, such a lovely experience. And
we've known Robert Dillon. I mean, how long have we been working with Robert?
Frighteningly long.
20, 30 years with the Preachers and way back.
Well, that's the thing with the MBAS. Some people move in and out of that particular, I'll call it an organisation. I think I'm allowed to say that. But what I'm saying is, even the people that left some years ago, they've still got this fantastic network. Like the Melbourne music scene, as you know, it doesn't matter what genre you're in. They're very supportive, and like I was going to say, a lot of those people have been around 25, 30 years, whatever. So it's kind of nice that, and there's new ones coming in, which is also very cool. But it's great that you can kind of, bump into somebody and just go...
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it was kind of... I found it, especially after we finished our set, I found it slightly overwhelming in a good way, in a really positive way, but lots of people were coming up and wanting to get, photographs and asking, if they could buy our CD and so on and so forth, and it just made me realise what an incredibly strong and powerful and loyal community.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, yeah.
And there was a lot of people there. There was quite a few people there.
Well, that was quite a pleasant afternoon, I think, wasn't it? Too bad weather-wise.
It got a bit better.
Yeah, right.
It was a bit grey, but yeah, it turned out all right. No rain. Well, not when we were there anyway. So, but we were indoors. But it was a nice day. Even outside, people outside. There might have been a bit of a spit, but not much.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you mentioned selling some product at the gig. It's still only the one EP.
At this particular point in time, yes.
I think
still just EP.
I think what we want to try and do, Max, is that we have got a set date now for the album launch next year, and I think we'll wait till then to do the whole T-shirt, the stubby holders and whatnot, the tea towels, which we've all got lined up, and we'll make it a big one.
Because I think when you were on previously, Steve, I was pumping you for info, if you pardon the expression. And you mentioned that the plan was possibly maybe 2 EPs from the album, or is that kind of changed slightly now?
Yeah, that definitely changed. And I think that was because we realised that, initially, and I think I may have mentioned this when we spoke last, Paul and I, we were assuming that this was going to be like a 2-piece band, and of course that was never going to happen with Paul and I. And it turned into something very different. And from there, it just, it found its own sort of momentum.
We've got the songs. Yeah. We've still got about 4 good... Well, the one song that we just recently put up on the Facebook and YouTube's is a song that's not actually on the album.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant song. So we could have... There's probably 2 or 3 others there that didn't make it to the album. The album's only got 11 songs. And just getting back to the album and how it's going, it's actually finished. Apart from we're what would you call it? Putting some sprinkles.
Yeah.
Where we're adding, some bits and pieces. But the beauty of it, though, Max, is having the time to listen to the tracks over, 4 weeks, and then go, oh, hang on, we need to bring, a flute into this, which we did recently onto one of the tracks.
It's a flute solo.
Right. And it's just having that luxury of time to listen to it, right? We'll really make this one... We'll probably never make an album this expensive again, but but it's going to be really good. It's fantastic. It's really shaping up.
It's the same studio which is Newmarket Studios in North Melbourne, and it's the same studio where we recorded the EP. However, back then you're literally talking about just a 3-piece band, and we just got a couple of guys in to come and overdub some brass, so it was very raw and rough and ready. Whereas this time it's a far more sophisticated kind of proposition with a brass section, with a Hammond organ.
Well, you work with that kind of outfit when you play live, isn't it? It's a big band.
Yes.
And we're adding, because we've had some go, and we're adding onto the album some of the newer guys that are in the band now. So the older guys that were in the band, the horn section, they're on there, but we're adding more horn parts, and as we go along, we find we can add something here, and I think it's working out really well. I mean, without trying to make it, Sergeant Pepper's or anything, crazy like that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
We're really trying, and it's got about it's got every genre of music on there, so it's not just a New Orleans sort of Tom Waits feel or a bit of but we've got everything on there.
Well, I was lucky enough to see you a number of times over the past probably year or so when you were doing those monthly gigs at Cherry Blues, which is, I might just add, that's where you're doing the single launch.
That is, yes.
On the 19th of November, a couple of weeks away.
Yep.
But that'll give people heaps of time to organise their Sunday. And with Pugsley Buzzard and his trio playing, which I've had him on the show a number of years back. He's quite a talent.
Yeah,
yes, indeed.
Yeah. So that'll be an excellent afternoon. But what I was going to say is I was privy to seeing the band kind of grow quite a bit in that period of time.
Yeah, I guess you were.
And those songs changed, tweaked, not greatly, but arrangements a little bit. Things got a bit sharper and... and then, of course, you throw in the obligatory, Max likes blues, so we'll play a Howlin' Wolf track or something. which I thought was kind of cute, nice, I appreciated it. And the bar staff did too. But those songs, I'm assuming the bulk of the sets that I heard is probably about 80% of what's on the record, I would think.
Very much so, yeah. Well, as Paul has suggested before, we certainly, didn't suffer from any risk of not enough songs to choose from. It was the opposite. And, I think we were trying to select the songs based on what would sound more like an album, more unified, more like one body of work. And hey, some of the other songs were like, maybe they'll be in the next one.
I think there's still 3 songs on the album that we're not even playing live yet.
Yeah, but the EP still that was still a great vehicle. That was a great introduction for.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, yourself back on the scene for sure as the front man and doing all that, and
certainly
Paul. So I think it's done its job. It's work.
Yeah, it has. It has very much so.
And with the single, people can tell, if they've gone out and bought the EP, and they've certainly heard a couple of tracks on this show and other shows on Triple R, of course, and Peebs. But the single's quite different from any of the tracks on the EP, isn't it?
Yes.
So tell us about, obviously, it's about the great man, Spencer P.
It is indeed. Look, it's a very specific kind of song, that one, and it couldn't have really been any other way, I think. It's based around the lyric, so the lyric is very much based on my experience, which was I was working as a music therapist at the time, and facilitating groups for disadvantaged people, mainly homeless people, and of course lots of the other marginalised subgroups that come into that, people suffering from mental health issues, drug addiction, etc. And this was with the organisation Vincent Care, or St Vincent de Paul, as the people would probably recognise more. I got a call from the volunteer manager at the time, if you like, and she advised me that there was someone who was interested in coming on board and helping out a bit, and I was like, okay, fair enough, and it turned out to be Spencer Jones, so that was quite an incredible experience. I absolutely idolised the Johnnies and his body of work with the Beast of Bourbon and everything else from a very young age. So that was quite overwhelming for a while. But he came on board and he was just wonderful. He just got it. He got the people, and it was almost like he'd been trained to work as a social worker, I suppose, himself. It was beautiful.
So you'd not bumped into Spencer at all over the years?
Not really, no. I'd known people who know him, mutual friends, etc., but no, I hadn't really had a personal introduction, if you like. And I think it was just a really good way to meet him, in a sense.
Because I remember hearing that track live, and straight away, I think the first time I heard you play it, I just said, that is a killer song. And I thought then, I thought, geez, how nice would it be to get Spencer to play on that track?
Yeah. We entertained that thought. We were a bit concerned about, I don't know, coming across as too premeditated, or I don't know, it's such a spontaneous thing. For me, it was very. It was one of those experiences that just happened, and I wrote about it. And I wrote about it because I wanted to, not for any other reason. And that was a long time ago, before Paul and I even got together with this band, and it just found its way into the mix.
Who's playing guitar on the single version that I've been playing?
Well, other than my own minimalistic, raw probably more post-punk like guitar. You've got the wonderful Shane O'Mara.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and that was like, I think that was his second take. He came in, did a couple of takes.
He's a bit like that.
He is a bit like that. Damn him.
Show off.
Great job.
And has Spencer heard the track, do you know?
Don't know.
Not sure.
Spencer, if you're listening, give us a call.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please.
We should play it, and you're launching this, as I said, on November the 19th. That's
Yep.
a couple of Sundays away at Cherry in the afternoon. Doors open at 2 o'clock, I'm assuming. It must be the same old drill.
Same old drill.
And Pugsley will be doing, with his trio, a bit of a set around
Trio.
about...
Round 3.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, round 3.
And then you guys will be on for a couple of sets?
Yeah, a couple of sets. Probably
Until
he'll probably do a
6:30 or
45.
Yeah,
and it will come on. Yeah.
All right, we'll listen to this track, and all the best with you guys
Thanks,
again.
guys.
And I'll no doubt have you back next year when we'll be yabbering about the
When
new
the
album.
album's out,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, look forward to it.
Steve, Paul, thank you so very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Max.
you.
And have a grouse one on the 19th.
We will do.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.
He shuffled in that day looking kind of fragile and tame. A little meek even, perhaps a little lost, I'd say. He wasn't wearing no cowboy hat, not at all. He was in fact dressed quite unassumingly, I guess. He seemed to blend in with the street and blend in with the crowd, appearing almost in disguise. No swagger, no strut, but still raw and real. Oh, so very real indeed. I felt as though I'd chanced upon an opportunity to take a sneak peek through a window that otherwise had its curtains drawn. It felt like he'd permitted me to view this room with the furniture, although dusty, little torn in places, was antique, decadently rare. We drank strong black coffee, smoked cigarettes, and discussed the healing powers of music. He spoke with Bo Diddley, the Stooges, Neil Young, and such. He explained his desire to help and share the truth, the gift, the holy, the unholy, and so very much more. He came down the stairs to pay. Cool as a breeze, it blew us all away. Spencer P. Jones. Spencer P. Jones. So I began to feel as though I got to know this guy a little as we met more often. I realized that just like me, he had his demons and his own cross to bear. I pictured the beautiful, young, dark Latin woman who'd stolen his heart and ran off somewhere. I knew exactly what he was talking about there. Clumsily, I tried to empathize, but I felt as though he knew, just like I knew. No words could possibly help heal those kinds of wounds. No. He came down the stairs to pay. Cool as a breeze, he blew us all away. Spencer P. Jones. Spencer P. Jones. suppose I was a little shy at first, it's true, but the way he laid it down so smooth and so easy, that's how it's done, man. That's just completely how it's done. He was about the primal and the instinctive, seemingly oblivious to all the bravado and trickery. He only played where and when he needed to. Oh, I felt it flow like water, like coffee, like wine, like whiskey, like blood. The life he breathed in some cheap and nasty kid's guitar with a feather thin pick plucked from his pocket.
Triple R is a community radio station with many volunteers, staff, subscribers.